We have a surprise.
Yeah. Wow.
He's here. How are you? Thank you so much for joining.
Well, I'm doing all right. Let me see if I tip this here. There we go. Better,
Hey, John
better
Chaos.
screen here.
Nice to meet you. I think it's the first time I've talked to you on a stream.
How's it going, Ben?
Going good.
He's an RH Maxi. Don't worry.
Now, Mister, you keep picking on me about TikTok, but what I tell you about TikTok is you might as well be trying to teach quantum physics to a bunch of kindergartners. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You get the views, but you're teaching quantum physics to kindergartners. It doesn't matter whether or not you get the views if they don't understand what the hell you're talking about. And the TikTok group, they know push a button and buy crypto. That's what they know.
Isn't that everyone in crypto, though, to be fair?
Robinhood app. They know how to use their Webull app. They know what app do I get my HEX on? Oh, you mean I got to actually do work? You mean I can't just go directly and push a button? Okay, I'm done. That's all I know. That's the problem. That is the problem. So it's great that we're getting these views, but it might as well be in a different language if they're not comprehending the information. So what happens is you do get the compounding effect. Okay. So when there is easier ways of obtaining HEX, they'll be able to click their easy button. But right now, as far as it's really difficult to onboard. And all
but that's for everything. That's not just TikTok, to be fair.
You know, it doesn't matter what it is. And in all actuality, yes, with people on the floor. No, it's not just that, but it's very complicated to get into HEX.
But I'm saying, like,
you know, it's very complicated to understand routing. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, it was complicated to understand the liquidity pool parity, but it's not complicated anymore because you like that whiteboard video, right? Are you proud of me?
I thought it was more confusing, actually, but apparently some people got it, so
no.
It works out all right.
Oh man,
but it works out all right. You know, it's a hard concept to explain, and that's somewhat. It clicks, and you found a way to get through to people so they understand that's how it works. So yeah, good job on you.
I got a pat on the back through the screen.
Here you go.
Yes. Yes. This is amazing.
Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday and they were talking about how, like, people who buy lottery tickets, if only they could DCA like 10 instead of $10 for a lottery ticket, they could DCA $10 into HEX. And I was like, well, it'd be easier if they could DCA into HEX at the gas station, you know?
Right.
And it's like people don't want to take the extra steps. I did see today that the Staker app V2 is going to have a way to sign in with your Coinbase. I don't know how exactly that's going to work. But that seems pretty cool because, like, my mom, she buys Bitcoin on Coinbase, and that's at least simple for a lot of people. Like, oh, I just download the app and sign up, and then I just like press the buttons and buy it. So that seems really, really interesting to me. I don't know if you guys saw that.
You can buy HEX through Coinbase's wallet too. So they're decentralized wallet, but you have to be able to download the secondary app. You know, you have to download their wallet. And I don't know if that's compatible with the current mods that we have for HEX staking or not. You'd probably have to remove it from there. The biggest problem we've got is the damn gas fees, because people, regardless of what the price is with HEX, you get wiped out on gas fees.
Okay.
You know, for the average person to try to buy $100 worth, they get wiped out on gas fees. You know, you get a $30 fee, and then you got a swap fee. How do you justify all those fees? People don't like to pay $4 at a damn ATM.
Wait, so can I respond to this? I had an interesting thought. Is that, you know how Richard Hart says, like, people say the inflation's bad, right? Inflation's bad for a coin. But Richard Hart says, no, inflation is not bad necessarily. The biggest opportunity for Bitcoin was at its highest inflation, right? So people are saying that the reason for HEX being down so much is the gas fees. But if you look at if you look at the gas fees have never prevented price appreciation, because the most onboards that were happening when the gas fees were its highest, right? Because like people's need for mad gains, I think the need for mad gains kind of supersedes the
I'm
burden of
talking
gas
about
fees.
new people. I'm not talking about people that are already in.
No, the new onboards on Hex daily stats, like you were getting like 700-800 a day when the gas fees were crazy. I remember going to people and like onboarding them, and I'm like, look, it did a 10,000x, and like, oh, get me into this. I'm like, you're gonna have to pay $50 for the transaction. Like, I don't care. It's just like,
that was not my experience whatsoever. I had, why am I paying $50? This is a scam. And then you have to explain to them that the Ethereum network is charging you trolls, charging you their troll toll in order to operate on their network, and they're like, well, screw this, I'm out. I don't want to do it. You know, if you're buying $100 worth and you lose half in fees, you're not paying 6 cents, you're paying 12.
Sure.
So you start off down 50% with just small entries. Now, this is one of the advantages to the centralized exchanges if they were to list it, because they do stuff off chain, right? They credit your account without actually making the transaction until you remove it. So they can do things off chain, and they could charge fees, and they could be making a killing on Hex right now by listing it. But do they do it? No, they don't. Could they? Yes. Could they be making a killing on it? Yes. Hey, Brian Armstrong, you're leaving a shitload of money off the table. Just going to say. But yeah, I mean, so that's one of the advantages. Now, one of the bad advantages is when you have it on centralized exchanges, what happens?
They
People
take your
leave
money
it on there. Then what happens? Well, there you go. So that's where that problem comes in. And we don't want to. It's such a step to teach people self-sovereignty when they come from the traditional financial space, where they're used to giving somebody else their money and have them hold it for them. So to try to, and it's easy for everybody coming into crypto to just find the app. It's like, okay, I'm in crypto. Who do I give my money to? And that's what they do. And that's why the centralized exchanges work so well, is because that's people's mindset when they enter. They're not ready for the self-sovereignty and stuff that we teach. That's something that they have to learn later. So we do have fiat on-ramps coming in for Pulse. We've got all kinds of stuff in the works. Like you said, Staker App's working on their thing. Coast is working on their thing. We've got all this stuff. The question is, why are we in such a hurry? Because we're only going to be here once. Why are we in such a hurry? Because we're not going to be able to add to our bags. And I know, Furu, you got a lot more adding to do before these prices need to take off.
I'm adding every week. I guess, but the trajectory looks amazing, right? Like,
because when the prices take off,
it's getting on centralized exchanges.
There's a kill zone right now. Don't you see the kill zone?
What's the kill zone?
But do you see the kill zone in the liquidity right now? That's where whales have already told you where the price is going to go. They've already told you.
Should we bring that up?
That's their kill zone. They are willing to buy your HEX for 6 cents and sell it back to you at 12 later.
You want to bring it up on screen?
That's what the whales have just told you.
You want to bring it up on screen?
We are happy to buy your 6 cent HEX and sell it back to you 12 later.
Do you want to bring it up on screen?
We got lag.
Hello?
Oh, the liquidity?
Yeah.
I vote yes.
Axis has already done a thing on this, dude. Axis has already done a thing on this. And anyway, I'm not trying to make a big point out of it, because I rather not inform the people that are paper hands. I would like them to go ahead and sell their HEX right now. If you're paper handed and you just can't wait, sell your HEX right now. Just go ahead and do it. Let's get you out of the way. Okay?
I agree.
Go ahead. Get your little paper hands together and hit on your little keyboard, click your little mouse, and sell your paper hands, because we're going to 12 cents. Okay? We'll see you back at 12 cents. You can buy there, okay? That's where we're going, because it's been declared. So what that is that's a kill zone. I know this kill zone. It's a double. It's a doubling. It's a doubling, right? So I did the same thing. I was buying at 1 Satoshi and selling at 2 Satoshis. You know what happens? You know what happens? All your 2 Satoshis get sold, and now you ain't buying anything back at 1 Satoshi because it never comes back there again.
Yeah.
But I know what the setup is, and we're looking at it on a larger scale. At least they've got a little bit of play with a couple pennies. You don't have much play with a couple Satoshis. But it's the same thing. It's a doubling. They're trying to double down on their bags.
So you're saying there's very little liquidity.
Because whatever you sell, you're selling at like 6. Whatever you buy, they can force that price right up.
So there's very low liquidity at like the near.
Why are you lagging?
It's your fault. You're in a cave. Am I still lagging? You see, I'm lagging because you got the joke like 3 seconds later. How do we fix this?
See, this is what happens when you have me come on. Anyway, just to explain the routing to you real quick so you get the concept of the routing. Think of like the barter system, okay? Think if you needed to trade somebody something to get something else, to trade that for something else, to trade that for something else, okay? That's what routing is. For instance, if you had to buy HEX now, can you buy HEX off a centralized exchange? No, you have to buy your Ethereum. Then you have to send your Ethereum over to your MetaMask wallet. Then you have to go to Uniswap. Then you have to trade your Ethereum for HEX. Or you buy your Ethereum, trade it into USDC, and then buy your HEX, you know, but that's routing. So it's the path in which you have to take in order to get to your final endpoint, okay? And routing is set up through the liquidity pools. Not all pairs will be paired with the thing that you have. So you can actually adjust routing. So for instance, say HEX has no USDC pair on Pulse. It does have a Pulse pair. Pulse has a pair with USDC. So in order to purchase HEX, you have to buy USDC to buy Pulse to buy HEX. You follow me?
Yeah, but what do you?
So
I know
routing
routing is, but what do you want? What is your wish list for the routing being set up? Is my question.
I want low liquidity with Pulse and USDC and everything paired to Pulse as a ratio.
Pulse, USDC, and
because what that means is anything that's paired to Pulse gets the USDC appreciation via a multiplier.
There you go, guys. That's Johnny Chaos's white wish list. Wish.
Man, I still move it in real time.
The lagging. Oh my gosh. Am I still lagging?
Yeah, the lagging is awful, guys. I'm going to cut out, let you guys get on with your regular show here.
Are you able to cut out and hop back on? Want to try that? You want to try cutting out and coming back on?
Let me try.
There you go. And he's back.
Time delay.
No, it looks like we're doing well now.
Okay, good. Connect with the ether cable for some reason didn't want to work, so I was Wi-Fi lagging, I think.
It looks perfect now. You said your wish list, which with no expectation from the work of others, was Pulse and USD pool to be thin. But is there a reason why you're saying Pulse and not HEX or PulseX?
Yes, because if you have to route through Pulse and Pulse has a high number trade-in value for HEX, then it benefits from that. Okay. Because when Pulse goes up in value, okay, HEX goes up as a multiple of that. Because in order to get in and out, you have to trade your HEX for Pulse to USDC.
Okay.
To get in, you have to buy Pulse to get HEX. You see?
Yeah. Oh, because you're saying that the on-ramps are going to list Pulse but not HEX?
Right.
Ah.
And then if you buy Pulse and a thin liquidity, then it pumps really hard, right? So if it pumps really hard and 1 HEX is equal 200 Pulse, right now it's 300 on apphex.win. It's gone up 100. So 1 HEX is worth 100 Pulse. And I mean, it's just an example. But even if it's 10, even if 1 HEX equals 10 Pulse, and the routing is set up USTC Pulse to HEX, even if it's 10, and the pools are large with HEX and HEX, which means you have to double one side in order to change that ratio. Okay.
Yeah.
So what that creates is even if it's 10, so if Pulse moves a penny, then HEX moves 10 cents. That's the idea. So I don't. So the reason is I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be that way. If it's available to you, why wouldn't you utilize it? If you got all the coins, it's on a network that you're making and it's safe. Wouldn't you put that in your own network? What are you doing with it anyway? It's just sitting there. So why not use that to your advantage? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, because you're not spending it anyway. You know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's all we can do is see what happens. It's my theory. I think HEX benefits from it. I think Pulse was built to benefit HEX to begin with, and I think it will continue to do so.
Okay. Well, that's definitely going to get clipped, and we're going to cut out the lagging part. But the question is, I think HEX is going to be listed on exchanges.
Eventually, yeah.
If it's viral. I think also, by the way, and we may not like this, but I think exchanges, they may not be able to make money off people trading HEX in comparison. But buying it, but I think also exchanges are going to have like a staking service for like people that don't want to, don't want to go through the hassle of setting up MetaMask and ledgers. I think why wouldn't they just let you stake it on the exchange where they stake it for you and they'll take a nice cut, like the way Ethereum staking works.
Yeah, we thought about that too, like way early that, that is something that they could have incorporated. But the problem with that is they want to use the things that they control, plain and simple. They want the things that they don't have to give custody of. So basically, I mean, when you put your coins on an exchange, they're their coins.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have custody. So that's the kind of things that they like. The staking feature in HEX leaves their custody. You see, because they're sending it into the smart contract, and they no longer have that available. You see, when they're doing stuff online, they just tell you what they're doing. They give you a page that says, "Oh, you're staked," but that might not be what's going on behind the background at all.
So they might do that with HEX also, though.
Well,
you're staked, and
yeah, it's possible, but because anybody could operate the same functions because the smart contract's open to the public, but I think where they would make the money is just in the fees, especially when the gas fees are high. Because they can credit your account with HEX when you buy it at that point in time and not charge you the big gas fee, but they can charge you a fee, right? So that's where they can make a lot of money out of it. And yeah, inevitably, we are going to be listed everywhere. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because that's just inevitable. Okay.
The
reason why we weren't listed immediately is because they have a business model to maintain. And that business model is you pay us $1 million, we'll list your coin.
Yeah.
We didn't pay them $1 million. Well, neither did Bitcoin, but Bitcoin got listed, right? Exactly. Neither did Ethereum, but Ethereum got listed, right? But anybody else, guess what? They're paying some kind of $1 million fee in order to be listed on these exchanges. And that's part of how they make the money. And the other thing they do is not only do they charge a listing fee, but they also require a certain allocation of the coins on top of that they can sell on people's heads, which we know is never going to happen in HEX. Okay. So they can buy it on the free market and they have the option to offer that as a service. But the reason they're so slow to list is because nobody's bribing them to do so. right? And if they allow something that doesn't bribe them to do so, then they're going to have other exceptions to the rule, and they just don't want to go down that road. They don't want to have to justify their listing fees, right? So inevitably, when they realize Uniswap ate your lunch, Brian, Uniswap ate your lunch. HEX was like the biggest traded token for months on Uniswap. All those fees collected, they could have been yours, man. They could have been yours. And, eventually they'll realize, hey, we can make money on this coin. However, instead of getting it for free like we usually do and get paid for a listing, we actually have to buy some.
Pump your bags.
That's the difficult part for them, because they don't spend. They take everybody else's.
Yeah.
That's not their business model. They're not used to that. But if they're smart business people, they'll realize that there's money to be made here. It is the most popular coin. It does have the strongest community. It has people that are fanatical about it in a way that no other coin ever has been, and it would be worth their interest and list. We did a video way back asking to be listed on Coinbase, where we had 80 individual people requesting to be listed on Coinbase, and they just kind of threw it in the trash. We don't care. When has that ever happened in crypto history? That you have 80 video requests from real people asking to be listed? Never. You get a lot of people going, a lot of bots that go win XRP, right? Until they finally listed that. But for the most part, you don't see real people making real requests that are real customers with real accounts on your platform, sending you a video telling you, hey, we're going to be buying a lot of this stuff. In fact, we'll probably buy it every month. And if you had it listed, that would make it easy for us. And we are willing to pay a convenience fee for having the ability to dollar cost average every month and take a portion of our paycheck and have reoccurring purchases, utilizing that reoccurring purchase program that hardly anybody does on your platform as it is. In fact, we could probably be 50% of all of your reoccurring purchases that happen regularly monthly if you were just smart enough to know what's staring you in the face. Brian.
Johnny Chaos's message to Brian Armstrong. We're gonna put that on TikTok and it's gonna go viral.
Well, we did, man, because everybody at the point in time when we were doing that, we were all putting monthly purchases into HEX.
Yeah.
And we're saying, look, we're gonna put $1,000 in, we're gonna put $100 in a month, we're gonna put in whatever. We're planning on putting this much money in a month. Whether or not you're in the way as a middleman to receive your cut of the fees or not is unconsequential to us. That's your money that you're losing, not ours. We're still going to purchase. We're still going to do it, whether or not you put yourself in the way and make it a little bit more convenient for us. And we're willing to pay that extra charge for that extra service. That was an option that has gone the wayside. Now, mind you, it's not completely over, because there's still plenty of people that are dollar cost averaging in the HEX on the regular. I see plenty of them in my feed, and at each price point, it really doesn't matter, because you're still making yield. The price point in HEX doesn't matter as much as you think. It's like, it does, but it doesn't. When you're looking at it as a lump sum, it matters a lot. But if you're staked, you can't sell that lump sum anyway. So why are you counting that lump sum? You know what people should be looking at? They should be looking at how much HEX they make per day. Look, you win every day. Every day. Every day you click that button and you look, you've got more HEX in your account than you had yesterday. What else does that? What else does that to that magnitude? Nothing. So you're looking at the wrong thing. When you're in that lottery mentality and that lump sum thinking, and you're like, oh, when it hits $1 million, I'm going to sell it all. No, you're not. Because if you sell $1 million worth, you drive the price down. You don't really get $1 million worth. And wouldn't it be smarter to just ration yourself? Because most people that are smart with $1 million would like to live off that interest, which there isn't a smart place to put $1 million, is there, in the traditional finance system that would actually make you enough yield to live off of? You can't, once upon a time, you could put $10 million, put $1 million in the bank and have $60,000 a year in interest, right? When it was 6%. Well, you guys are young. You don't remember that. There was 6% interest sounds like some kind of fantasy thing for banks. But once upon a time, that's how they used to get your money. But since they can borrow unlimited amounts of money from the government now, they don't care about your money anymore. They don't care. They don't have to. You have to have a bank or you can't do this. Or you have to have a bank or you can't do that. So you got to use one. You got to have a bank account or you can't get nothing, right? So that now they charge you fees for holding an account with them. And now they charge you ATM fees to get your money in and out, right? And those fees continuously go up. You're being charged on your own money for them to have custody of it. Isn't that ridiculous? But it used to be, you used to be able to earn interest. So if you won $1 million from the lottery and you could put that $1 million in the bank, then you could live off that 6% interest per year because it'd be a $60,000 a year salary. You could do that with HEX. You can't do that with a traditional banking system. If you have $1 million right now and you put it into HEX at these low prices and the price doesn't even move, you're still going to make, if you stake every year, you're still going to make 10%. That's $100,000 a year if the price doesn't move. What offers that? Where can you put $1 million to make $100,000 a year for doing absolutely nothing except waiting? Nothing.
You can't even get it in crypto, really. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. And now you can sometimes if you leave it on their platform, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get it back out. Yeah. With HEX, you know, when your stake ends, you have access to that money.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not actually putting it in anybody else's custody. Now, when you cash out, you have to go through their gates. And during that time, you move a little bit at a time and deposit it in your bank account. You don't want to. That's why I really don't understand these lump sum sales. You're never going to be able to move, like $1 million in USDC through account without getting put on hold trying to move that much at once. They'll be like, where'd this guy get this money? Is this a hacker? Let's put a hold on it. So I don't really understand why people feel they need $1 million a week in cells. It just doesn't make sense. It's like the best bank account on the face of the planet. You take what you need. Unless you're making $1 million purchase, you shouldn't have a need to cash in $1 million every week. It's just silly. You're turning it into something else that's not going to go up in value. You're losing. Just cashing out, you're losing your potential for additional earnings just by lump summing it like that. But most people never thought they'd have $1 million. So once they get to that level, they're like, I got to have the $1 million. Okay, now it's in your bank account. Now what? You pay taxes on half of it. And now you don't have the ability to make any more anymore. Congratulations. That was helpful.
No, that's what I said. One of the issues about like the time lock is that a lot of people that otherwise would have cashed out early are now like whales. Like in most cryptos, right? You have like these the people at the top are generally very smart people because they got to the top. They probably had a lot of money or they were very good at delaying gratification. But HEX, a lot of people.
Oh, dude, we got a lot of idiots, man.
A lot of idiots with like price pushing power because of the time lock. That's why we need you to educate the idiots so they start acting like whales. You don't need to be
smart to make the right decision. You just need to make the right decision. And then when you make the right decision, don't go around trying to justify why you made the right decision with your ideas of why you believe it happened. And that's what people do, right? They can't just settle for the fact of, oh, damn, I made a right choice. I made a right choice and it worked out. They can't do that. No, they got to explain it, right? They're going to say, oh, well, I knew because blah, blah, blah. And Bitcoin, it's energy, it's power, it's pure. Let me make some more excuses for you. Does it sound good? No.
It's going to end all war.
I mean, it's crazy.
According to Michael Saylor, Bitcoin cures cancer.
Bitcoin can stop war.
You would think that watching him. But yeah, no, that's interesting. I had to bring this up to you now that I have you on the stream. What is your take on the crypto Mason saga? Mason Crypto.
Have you seen my TikTok?
You made a TikTok.
Read their comments, his boys' comments on my TikTok.
You made a TikTok about him?
Oh, hell yeah, I did.
Wait a second.
Hex Fabio, find it.
Wait, I
It's
gotta
got the
share.
longest TikTok ever.
I gotta share the tab then, so we could share the audio.
Because when they made their videos, I made a response video. When I say they, I mean Blockchain Boy and Crypto Mason, who are best buds. They made their anti-hex videos, and I don't mean neutral hex videos. I mean their anti-hex videos. Totally speaking out of term. All right there it is. I think with that goofy face that I just had. Right.
This one.
Yeah, I think that's that one. Does that have like 6,000 views? I can't hear it.
Wait, let me turn the audio. Whoops. Wait.
So experts. We got the famous Mr. Ed and the Chumley wannabe. So let's take a moment to take a look at their top picks. Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go on to nomics.com and take a close look at the chart of the coins that they recommend. So seriously, if you're looking at two kids that look like they got kicked out of high school for smoking way too much weed, you might have a problem. So apparently, if it's not listed on the centralized Robinhood app that they're familiar with, it must be a scam. You can't put it on your website how to direct people through the process in order to obtain that which they went looking for. That makes it a scam. So recently, I just saw a video from some...
Okay. I totally could not hear that, but...
You totally couldn't hear it?
No, my headphones weren't plugged into the mic, but sorry. Shouldn't have even said that.
You can watch it later. It's all right. The point being is, I think these influencers on TikTok were actually got a paycheck from CMC or Binance.
Oh, did you not see Mason's tweet?
He got dropped. Yeah, he got dropped from Binance.
Okay,
I believe there was a bonus check for anybody that would talk shit about Hex.
No,
and we have not been able to prove that yet. But that's actually what I'd like to see, is that these people just basically were paid for a negative review. Because come on, let's be realistic here. If opinions can be purchased, it doesn't matter whether they're positive or negative. They just do what they're paid to do. You know, it's absolutely absurd to think that somebody would take all this effort to put themselves out in a position where they're talking about something they totally don't understand whatsoever, and to have such a negative connotation when they could be wrong. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Look, people have no problem talking about things that they like. That's not a problem. People will talk about things that they like. You don't have to pay them for that. But to talk about things that you don't like, somebody better pay me to suffer through talking about things that I don't want to talk about, That just makes sense, right? And yeah, he might have been supporting his fellow people who also were probably paid to say bad things about it. I don't know what the deal is, but you want my overall consensus? I do not brag on these guys for having a whole bunch of followers because people click on them and they follow them. Okay. I think that people should have been listening to us and not listening to them to begin with. And I think they need some more education, and they should be listening to us and before they open their mouth. Because, there's nothing worse than an expert on a subject that knows nothing. It's like taking skydiving lessons from somebody who's never jumped out of a fucking plane. Mm-hmm. It's pretty lame is what it is. And, and I know you guys are both young, but I mean, come on now. You're taking financial advice from this guy?
No, but that's the problem. He's on TikTok, so he went viral, and he's got 1.2 million followers.
Because kids watch him, Does that mean these kids have any money to invest? No.
Well, I think there are a lot of adults on TikTok these days, but no, but the question, okay, that's not what I wanted to say. I meant this. I'm sorry. What I meant to say is he ended his Binance. The Binance partnership ended. He tweeted about that
partnership.
No, but that was after he tweeted about HEX and how he likes HEX. Do you think that triggered Binance to end the partnership?
I do, considering we're still in litigation with them.
So you think Binance saw Mason tweet about Richard Hart
Yep.
saying he's a genius?
Yep.
He taught me so much. I'm neutral on HEX, and like Binance is like, cut it.
Yep. Binance changed their Binance follows me too. Binance changed their pooling of the way they distribute their BNB token because I exposed that it was 99.25% controlled by the top 100 wallets. Lo and behold, I go back to try to check it again, and it's been moved to daughter addresses. Okay.
Wow,
So
that
they
was
all
you.
being
You
efficient.
discovered that?
Don't. Yeah, I've got.
I know you
I've
talked.
got
I didn't realize that you were the brain behind that. That's unbelievable.
I track all the tokens because I did a video on how to go to Etherscan and check the tokens because people are not getting right data from the ranking sites. And so what's a coin ranking site? Coin ranking site is somebody else's opinion. That's what it is. It's somebody else's opinion. You don't know, and you are trusting them at their word that they're telling you the truth. And then for some reason, these idiots are like, yeah, it's the best. Why? Because CoinMarketCap used to have a pay your influencers fund. There used to be a CoinMarketCap sponsor, right? And they would pay you a fee to say, this is my show. Let's bring up CoinMarketCap. They paid you for that. And then they just ended that program as a result of the lawsuit. They ended that program. Okay. They have changed their policy. People are very aware now that CoinMarketCap is bullshit. And they are very aware now that you are actually trusting somebody else's opinion to tell you what the blockchain says instead of actually pulling your own data. And what we need to teach people is how to pull their own data so they can know what the truth is instead of trusting somebody else's shopping list. So you're already losing if you're going to these coin ranking sites and expecting them to tell the truth. You're already losing if you're reading crypto tabloids and you're expecting them to tell the truth. You guys, everybody knows that the news media is full of shit, right? What makes you think the crypto space media is any better?
It's worse.
It's worse. It's absolutely worse because they can say anything that they want and it becomes reality for the majority of people because it's such a small space and everybody is so dependent on that for their facts. And really what it comes down to, you don't know who's writing those articles. You've never met that person. That person doesn't give a rat's ass about you. That person is getting paid to write an article that fits the agenda of the people that are paying them to write it. That's what it is. So you are reading a crypto tabloid. That's what you're reading when you're looking at Cointelegram, CoinDesk, CoinDesk, and there's a couple other ones too. But if you're reading their article and Reddit posts, there are people that are paid to write Reddit posts and start threads, to start trouble. The guy that did the WannaFi article, okay, that guy, he is a known scammer. Okay, these are the people. When you got the corrupt people calling the shots and telling you what's real and what isn't, and you're blindly trusting them, of course they're going to steer you away from people that are trying to do the right thing. They don't want you to hear that.
Yeah. And this here is Mason's tweet after the Binance sponsorship was either terminated or whatever, or expired. The fact that CoinMarketCap gatekeeps market cap is BS. The whole industry would be a lot different if everyone knew this. Binance owns CoinMarketCap, by the way. And he said that he learned about market cap being a vanity metric from Richard Hart. He said he's watched hours of his content. But what are your thoughts on this tweet by Mason versus Lewis?
I don't think he's dumb, and I think he's catching on to what's going on. But I think when he started this, he didn't have a clue what he's getting into. And plain and simple, I'm not really interested in his concept because I've got nothing to learn from Crypto Mason. He's an expert on sales.
XRP.
he's an expert on sales. I mean, look, he's an entertainer. People like him because he's entertaining, and for some reason, he's been effective doing that. And what does he do? He's just like all the influencers from 2017. What did they do? Their business model is they take money for sponsorships, and that's how they make their money. They don't make their money. They make their money through referral links, and they make their money through sponsorships, and that's their job. They're entertainers. They're not experts. They don't understand the blockchain. They don't understand liquidity pools. They don't understand, how things in the real economy actually work. They haven't been on this planet long enough to understand how money works, right? They have not ran businesses. They're straight out of high school onto the I'm an expert now, right? And they're able to do that because there's no degree that says I'm a graduate of whatever university that says I have a degree in crypto. Okay. So they're just seizing that. It's like in the special effects field, we see the same thing, right? I have high school kids come in here and they're like, I'm a special effects makeup artist. Really? Yes, I'm the head of blah, blah, blah makeup department. Oh, you are? Okay. Do you know what this is? No. Do you know what that is? Do you know what this is? No. Do you know what that is? No. Okay. I see we're totally on the same page here. See, because I've been doing this for 30 years. You've been doing this for 6 months. But yet the ego builds, right? Because you get a lot of people, when you get a lot of followers, your ego gets heightened, right? You got everybody and their brother telling you, oh, what a good job you're doing. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that was really great. And they pump your ego. And a lot of people get addicted to that ego pumping, and they start believing their own bullshit. And instead of educating and growing, they don't feel a need to, right? And look, before HEX came along, what did most cryptos do? Send and receive. To hear of something that's actually programmed with a T-share system, a truth engine, all these different dynamics that we have in HEX, it's unheard of. So how is he supposed to know? He's an expert in shitcoins. He's an expert in shitcoins and marketing, right? So, how is he supposed to know any different? When you get used to seeing a certain thing and it's always been that way, you don't expect to find anything new, right? Because most of the crypto space, again, is sitting on benches. Richard's trying to run a marathon and everybody's just sitting on a bench. They're not trying to improve. Why? Because they got comfortable with selling stick figures, a picture and a promise. They got comfortable with that. They don't need to make a portrait. You know why they don't need to make a portrait? Because they're in the business of selling stick figures. They're not rewarded for that extra effort. They're not doing it for the glory. They're not doing it to say, see, I did this. Now what you got? No, they're just trying to make a buck. That's it,
Yeah, it's Ben, do you have anything on that?
Sorry, my screen's just...
Ben's frozen.
He's frozen. While he gets that fixed.
Why so serious?
No, Mason, so it is interesting. So like people don't realize that this is what I said. I said people think that influencers influence their audience, but very often, too often, unfortunately, it's a two-way street, meaning the audience often influences the influencers. And that's why you look at Crypto Mason, the biggest coin that he shills. Yeah, and the sponsors. But like even that, so like his biggest shill is XRP. And like why is everyone shilling XRP? It's because as an influencer, you're in the business of getting engagement. You're not in the business of mad gains from crypto. When you get engagement, you get sponsorships, you get traffic, you could basically do whatever you want with your audience. They
leverage their amount of viewers and their demographic. They present their amount of viewers and their demographic and their reach as currency to potential investors.
Exactly.
So they can say, it's like the banks do. I have this much money. Let me borrow this much more.
Exactly.
So they leverage their viewership. So that's why it's important that they maintain a high follower count. And that's why it's important that they identify their demographic and to make themselves to be able to say, I need $20,000 to talk about your coin.
Exactly.
I mean, that's where they make them.
And the biggest community right now,
leverage trading.
Yeah. And the biggest community, right? You have a big audience, you get more referral links. The biggest community right now is XRP. I mean, HEX pound for pound is more engaging, but XRP is by far the biggest.
But is
And
it?
huh?
Or is it illusion? You heard the dead internet theory? Is it real or is it illusion?
No,
How many people, how many actual real physical people do you see promoting XRP and only
there's a
XRP?
lot. No, there's a lot. And the proof is my TikToks bashing XRP get like 80,000 views.
Yeah, from bot farms in China. This is what I'm telling you. You don't see these. Where is the XRP party? I saw the XRP party at XRP. I saw them wearing their stupid little crab claws and doing their XRP party at XRP.
But regardless,
XRP gatherings.
But regardless of that, to these influencers, they don't know that, so they want to get the most views and the most audience, and they're like, "Let me talk about XRP because that has the most viewers."
Bot
like,
farming.
But whatever. But I'm saying is, okay, so it's bot farming, but like, yeah, that's why they all cover XRP. They know Ripple dumps on them, like they know Ripple dumps on their head, but they don't care because that's the biggest community. That is the juggernaut, at least what they see as the juggernaut. Same thing with like Cardano and things like that. Hex is not big enough yet, but it is emerging. And the proof is Mason cannot get his head away from Hex and Richard Hart. He's made videos on it. He's been tweeting it, like long tweets, like the type of tweets that you have to pay in order to have that many character type of tweets.
That's because he's dealing with real people. He ended up in Freddie Quote's Furu eulogy, as a result of his tweet. He's ended up in several. I mean, when you go on the record and you make a statement like that, he never expected the blowback that he got. He's been featured. We're talking about him now, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the things that he said before, right? Look, great for him, but I don't have a use for him. Okay.
I do.
I thought it was really entertaining how like their whole mob, their whole blockchain boy and Mason group came in and had to talk shit in my TikTok. Guess who's still got money? Lots of it, plenty. Didn't hurt me a damn bit. And I was never there for the following or the likes or anything. I was just trying to support what I was supporting, and it just pissed me off that people were talking out of turn. They had no argument whatsoever. It was literally, it was almost scripted. They talked around, it was just ad hominem attacks, and they just, talked around the whole point without making a point. And it was like, they don't know what Hex is. I mean, it was obvious to anybody that knew what Hex was, they did not know. Okay. Now their motivation to do that video, I don't know, because instead they got a whole community of real people, not bots, but a whole community of real people with their own unique personalities that are holding very large bags, pissed off at them. And those real people will follow them for the rest of their life to remind them of that. And there's not anything any one of us can do about it now. I mean, I'm uninterested.
Well, Freddie said he's deleting it. Freddie.
So Freddie's gonna blur out the picture, but that's about it.
So that's good.
So that's good for him. He saves a little bit of face. But guess what? He's on all kinds. He's on the Hex Rewind. He's on. He's going to be documented forever. This is what happens when you're wrong in history. When you're the village idiot, you get labeled the village idiot. And you will continue to be the village idiot forever. So you shouldn't speak out of turn. And I feel bad for the guy. He's a young guy, made a mistake. But guess what? There are consequences for those actions.
Is there repentance, though? Will you forgive him if he, puts on the Hex cap, the forward cap, and starts saying very good things?
He's irrelevant to me.
Will he get forgiven?
But he's irrelevant to me. All of these influencers are irrelevant to me. All these people that were wrong and on the wrong side of history, they have a choice whether or not they want to be on the right side of history now and admit their mistake and be on the right side of history now, or if they just want to carry on this thing and never learn anything, that's up to them. I think they should be learning from us. If they're too egocentric to humble up and realize, hey, we were trying to help people and they were the ones screwing them up by sending them to leverage trading platforms and centralized exchanges and all these other things to earn yield. Dude, these people did not help people. They screwed them, because they didn't have the knowledge to be speaking on the topics that they claim they're an expert in. They weren't ready. They took a job they couldn't do, right? You can't fire an influencer. They're just on the internet for forever. But you have to realize in life there are consequences for your actions. I didn't come out and start talking about HEX because you hear me talk about any other cryptocurrency? No. You know why? Because I'm not sure about those, right? For once, something in the crypto space actually looks promising, like it's going to do what it's supposed to do for once in cryptocurrency. I mean, it's just insane. And everyone's like, oh, well, the next one to do a 10,000x too. No, it won't. You don't know how rare this shit is. Yep. It just really irritates me. And what do? They want to show you the next coin that they're paid a sponsorship to do, but that's what they're due. But see, look. Now, we like to say this is a bad thing, right? But all they're doing is replicating the same business model that is used in normal business, right? A sports guy gets a Nike sponsorship. He's only wearing Nikes. He's not talking about Reebok, right? Or he's got a sponsorship from watches, right? He's only going to wear a particular watch. So these product placement endorsement things are normal in business, but in crypto, these product placement things are somebody else's money, right? That's what makes it different. And they don't see anything wrong with what they're doing because they're being paid to promote a product, and they don't really care what the product does because they're getting their money up front. And if you were paid to promote Reebok or Nike or whatever, it wouldn't be such a big deal, right? It's just, it's just a shoe. But when you're being paid to promote financial products that are supposed to do things and be innovative, this is where the problem comes in. Pick a different type of sponsorship. You're not helping people. You're actually hurting people by taking the sponsorship money to promote things are probably going to fail. And that's why I'm not an influencer. That's why I don't do paid sponsorships. I'm not going to be beholden to a sponsor, so I have to say what they want me to say. I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say.
That's a great point.
I can't tell Hexicans how to treat Mason and how not to treat Mason. Each one of them are going to react to him in their own way, right? I don't see a point in picking on the kid. He's obviously a smart kid. He's built up a following. He could be good if he wanted to turn around and actually say, hey, look, HEX is something special. It's something different. It's not like the other things I've promoted before. No, I'm not paid to promote HEX, but I see the potential here where I didn't see it with the other stuff that I was promoting before. I mean, look, yeah, well, enough of that.
Would you do a stream with Crypto Mason if he asked you?
Would I do a stream with Crypto Mason if he asked me? See, this is the problem where I don't see where he's added value. But if the community wanted it, I would do it for our community. I would represent on behalf of our community. But
I would want it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not mad. I'm not upset with him. I understand why he's done what he's done. And I'm for the most part, I'm letting it go. I'm not going to keep trolling on him because yes, he's kind of learned that something's going on here that he wasn't aware of, and he has updated his worldview. Now, if he was still a hater, no, I don't think I would bother with him.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. So I guess hopefully he will repent. Hopefully he will turn it around. But I really love the point that you made about like that is the way the world normally operates with advertising. But like nobody puts in more money than they could afford to lose to their Nike sneakers in the hopes that one day they'll become multi-millionaires. It's an unbelievable point.
Right. Yeah. And and people sponsor Mercedes-Benz or they sponsor whatever. I mean, there are because if celebrities are given a Mercedes-Benz, then everybody wants a Mercedes-Benz, right? So that's kind of the way of the sponsorship world. There's a clip from Wayne's World where it's like, we will not bow to our sponsors. And it's like little yellow ribbon, different, and they had the Pepsi, and they had the Reebok hat and the Reebok shoes and the whole jumpsuit thing going on. And even in film, so there's like product placement in film. When there's a new movie coming out, Pizza Hut will get a sponsorship. Domino's Pizza, was it Domino's that got the sponsorship for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I don't remember, but anyway, the Turtles like pizza, so of course the companies competed to get their product placed in the movie, because that's advertisement for their product. And that is normal behavior, and I can understand how people get lured into it, and I can understand that maybe they haven't took time to think about the consequences, right? But it's almost like being an arms salesman, It's like selling nukes to people, Somebody's going to get hurt, and people don't think about the consequences of doing that stuff, because they're not seeing. Because what happens is people just go away. They just unfollow you and they go away. When, I'm the kind of person, if I go to a restaurant and I have bad service, I don't go on YouTube and tell everybody about what bad service I have. I just don't go back, right? And what happens is, I don't feel that the influencers are helping, because if people come into the crypto space and their first experience is getting rug pulled, they're going to have a bad experience with crypto and they're not coming back, right? So I don't see where that's a benefit, to provide knowledge of these projects that are coming out that are probably going nowhere, because in result, if that's their first experience and they have a bad one, you have now lost them to the crypto space. And I don't think that's good for anybody. I don't think that builds us up. It just makes us look, it doesn't give us validation. It doesn't make us look good. It just creates more people out in the world saying, yeah, I tried that crypto thing once and it sucked. You know how many people I run into and say, yeah, I was in crypto back in 2017 and 2018, everything went to shit and I'm never doing that shit again, right? There's a lot of those. In fact, I would be one of them if I didn't come across HEX. I had a miserable time in 2018. I bought into all the narratives and all the crap in 2017. I watched it all go up and all go down. The new one is AI. Guess what? It's not new. They tried that 3 years ago. Actually, no. They tried that 6 years ago, by the way. Deep brain chain. I still got some deep brain chain. Guess what? You can't do anything with it. It got delisted. Because back in the day, you know what they could do? They could delist it. So then you got a bag full of tokens that you can't even sell anywhere. Because there was no decentralized exchanges that you could just swap. There wasn't. What happened was, you end up with a bag of tokens. The exchange says, oh, by the way, we're going to delist this. And guess what? Everybody delists it all at the same time. So you got a bag of useless tokens that can't be traded anywhere on a chain that doesn't even operate. That's what happens. So now with these decentralized exchanges, nothing ever really goes away. It can go up and down in price, but it never really goes away completely, right? So you still have to have interest in the coin. You still have to have buyers and sellers in order to, operate it. If there's no buyers and no sellers, you still can't sell it. But at least they can't just take it away and say, hey, congratulations, you now have a bag of useless tokens, which is what they did. KuCoin had an earn program where you got dust off all the transactions, okay? And then most of the dust that you got from all these different transactions are coins that don't even exist anymore, that are listed nowhere, that can't be sold anywhere.
That's unbelievable. Ben, what are your thoughts? We haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah. Sorry, my computer shut down. Fans got really loud and then it just turned off. Ooh. So it's good now. That's super interesting hearing about those stories of the old days. Like the KuCoin dust and coin would just get delisted and then you couldn't sell it.
Yep.
It's valuable.
There was Coscoin and there was KuCoin. You could stake them both and you could earn part of the transaction fees. That is one of the things that I liked all the yield producing coins. I like Neo because it generated gas. So there were all these yield producing things, right? And they just never worked out. You know, Costco, I don't think Cost has an exchange anymore. Yeah, so like staking coins that you could earn the dust. That was really cool because you got all of these different tokens. You got little bitty percentages of all of it. You were earning passive income, except it was on their centralized platform. And when the centralized platform goes, you got nothing. And then those tokens that you're storing on there, if you didn't have a wallet to put them in, where were you going to move them to anyway? Right? So you might as well just leave them on the exchange because they couldn't go anywhere, especially if they were on their own chain, because not all chains have their own wallets and stuff. So
yeah, it is interesting also how decentralized exchanges and staking trustless yield is becoming more prominent in crypto, like thanks to people like you and obviously Richard Hart. Do you think like the whole when Binance meme is going to become obsolete in the future, or people will always want centralized exchange?
I think
Those things.
no, people will always want centralized exchanges because people always want convenience stores, right? You don't always want to go to the grocery store when you want to pop, right? Sometimes it's easier to pay a little bit more at the gas station than to walk through the whole store to the back to pick up what you need and then come through. So there's a price to pay for convenience. What I do think the centralized exchanges are slipping on is the opportunity that they have with something like HEX, where they have all the opportunity in the world to make it more convenient. And they have price points that they could buy right now and stock their coffers for very little money, when this is something that will take off in the future. I think they're really slipping here and not knowing what they're missing out on. And again, that's because they are used to coins that have send and receive functions, really no use case. They have memes and they have stories, but they don't usually go anywhere. And what they're looking at is fees that they can collect from purchases and transactions. However, HEX is something that's going to be around, and there's a lot of money being left on the table that they could be utilizing by adding that convenience if they wanted to. I mean, think about it. If you could just send somebody to Coinbase and they could get their HEX, and then you can teach them how to, because that's, it's like, what button do I click to get HEX? I mean, that's what everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know, what button do I click? I mean, you get these people that don't understand. No, I don't want to go through these steps. I just what button? How do I buy this? I run into people all the time. Can I just buy it on my staker app? Yeah, you can buy it on your staker app. Put the credit card in, do that, And then sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't because of ramp or what you call it. They'll cancel your card and you gotta. So it's such a hassle still. Anybody that makes it more convenient, they're going to have the opportunity to make fees because people will be willing to pay those fees for convenience, always. So centralized exchanges are not going anywhere. As far as people leaving their custody on there, they will probably still do that because it's convenient and they can still spend their little stories and their earn programs and stuff and keep people coming back.
All right, that's fair enough. Ben, what do you think?
No thoughts, just soaking it in.
Yeah, I mean, I did say the institutions are always late. I mean, it's not even in their interest to be early to trends because they already have so much money and they're not interested in risk. So I think that really applied to Bitcoin, and I think that applies for centralized exchanges for HEX. If that's
when Bitcoin was $100, Andreas Antonopoulos was talking to a room of empty people.
Yeah,
just a room of empty people, an empty room with no people. Like two people in the whole entire room, right? 50 seats. And it's like, you don't understand. People do not understand how early they are. They don't grasp that concept that they have their unit bias. They have their entry point. Richard got free Bitcoin, 50 per block, for absolutely free for running an exe file. Does that make his Bitcoin worth any less than the ones that people bought for $30,000? No. He got his for free. They paid $30,000. Do you understand that? You're getting your HEX for cheap. You don't think it's worth much because you got it for cheap. It doesn't mean it's cheap. It's probably worth way more than you paid for it. You just don't know it yet because time hasn't caught up yet. We are still not on centralized exchanges. We are still gate capped. Finally, Finally, a couple influencers come forward and they're saying, you know, maybe I was wrong about this HEX thing. Finally, they are 3 years behind us. The people, the people in the HEX community, we're already 3 years ahead. They have 3 years to catch up with us. We understand DEXs. We understand liquidity. We understand liquidity bonding. We understand routing. Okay. We understand a lot of things that they haven't even realized that has changed in this game. That's why they lost their money on FTX. That's why they lost their money in Celsius. That's why they lost their money in Luna. That's why they lost their money on Voyager, Babylon, BlockFi, what other 50 different things, right? They lost their money. Why? Because they're still behind. They're behind. So I don't see much in learning from, they really need to catch up. They need to update their worldview, and they need to catch up, and they need to understand the innovations that are being made. The fact that decentralized exchanges and automated market makers have changed the game forever. Ever. You can't go back.
It's true.
You can't unsee it.
Yep.
And you can't make HEX go away no matter how much you hate it. You can hate it with all your little heart, but it's still going to be here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that you brought that up. I spoke about this today, and Ben Cage brought up the fact that a BlackRock ETF is on Uniswap. I think once Ethereum's having issues now with scaling because of the gas fees and stuff, but once these things are solved, partially you're going to be with Pulsechain, stocks are going to be put on these decentralized exchanges. This is going to change the world of finance. The technology is so powerful.
What is a stock really? It's an IOU. It's a flag that says, I like this team. That's all it really is. That's all a stock is. It's a flag that says, I like this team. Their sales, their whatever. It's not. It's the same thing. It's like you have to be able to sell that stock at a higher price later to somebody else that wants it more than you. That's all it is. It's just a flag that says, I like this team. That's all a stock really is. You know, it's not any different.
Yeah.
HEX is different because what is it? It is a product that produces itself. That's what makes it different.
No, but what's crazy is like we think HEX is going to go big now, but what about when these publicly traded companies are on DEXs, at least like partially, right? And then you have all that money you could trade directly from, let's say, Apple to HEX.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts. And people don't realize that. People don't realize that the world really changed overnight with the decentralized exchanges. And we're only going to see the consequences. Most people are only going to see it too late. It's crazy.
They can give you warnings and they can mess with you, but they can't really delist it because it keeps getting re-added back because it's Ethereum virtual machine compatible. So it just kind of runs.
Yeah.
So, and then, even if they were to manipulate it to where it would hide, they have for a long time. Even that on Uniswap, we've been hidden. We keep getting removed. We for a while we were getting removed. And we'd have to keep adding it back. And then later they added this isn't traded on centralized exchanges. Like that's a good thing. Hi, we have HEX. Our coin is not listed on centralized exchanges that can manipulate it. Boy, that's a terrible feature, isn't it? Not being listed on centralized exchanges that can delist it at any time and manipulate its price because they're able to give you an IOU for your HEX and then actually hold the HEX themselves and do whatever with it without your permission or knowledge. Yeah. Or wash trade it all day to produce those fake volume numbers that they report. And then everybody takes this fact, even though technically you're trusting that they're reporting the proper numbers because there's no real way to record that data because it's off chain, not on chain. And now with DEXs, everything's on chain. All the transactions are real because each transaction does cost a fee, and you can't infinitely make transactions on a DEX because you will run out of money.
It's unbelievable.
So they are real transactions, real volume, right? For a while, places like Nomics were trying to really cut back and try to understand and section off what was wash trading volume versus what was real volume and what is reported volume versus true volume. And they're having a bitch of a time with that because they have to trust that the entities that are recording or reporting that volume are being honest. What do we say? We say don't trust, verify. And that's what we do, is we verify on chain. And you know what? We have the best chain analysis people out of anybody in crypto. We've got people like Silver that can just analyze stuff and follow every wallet, everywhere. You even so much as blink an address, he's got you. He knows who you are now. He also knows your other wallets. He knows what you've been doing. He's like Santa Claus, man. We call him the Sherlock Holmes of HEX because he was deep into the investigation. He watches all the bad trades. He watches, all the movements. So we know what's going on chain all day long in HEX. And then somebody comes in and they're like, well, HEX is a scam. Oh yeah? Do you know how to read chain analysis? Tell me what wallets are scamming. Why don't you tell me that? What I see is a lot of people made a lot of money and they're cashing out a lot of coins. And they're really happy about it, even though they'll probably be miserable about it in about a year.
Yeah, and you were talking about the 4 wallets who who they are that sold the bottom. Is there any update on how they're
I'm
doing?
not telling you nothing, man.
How are our friends doing? How are our friends doing?
You ain't getting no names out of me.
No, not the names, but how are their wallets doing? How are their wallets doing?
Weak, man. Weak.
Are they out?
Weak.
Wow. I guess the last question I'd want to ask you is regarding the Pulsechain launch. There was the update, obviously, that Richard tweeted about. Do you have a time frame?
Well, I told you that we were uploading, right?
Yes.
And I said it was going to be a matter of days. What I didn't know is, yes, it was uploading. It was a matter of days, but it's private, not public. So I'm going to say, no, I wasn't wrong because it was a matter of days because it was in the process of
That's
uploading.
Fair.
There is a V3 and it is running currently flawlessly, right? And it was delayed a little bit as a result of the bug that was found. And it's private testnet and not public network. So V3 is up and running, just we don't have access to it. So it's a matter of whether or not they want to just say, you know what, Aragon's a pain in the ass. It's dead space. Dump it. We don't need it. We have already got 3 others. Let's just go ahead and run this thing, right? If they do that, then we could have testnet V3 public very quickly. Very quickly. If they decide that Richard says, no, I'm not going to settle for 3. I want all 4. I want my damn quad 4 processor. I want bragging rights. I want to say, no, nobody's ever done this before. I've done it. Look at what I've done. Look at how awesome it is. I've got 4 of these things working together. It was very hard. You guys try it. Good luck. Then we're going to be waiting a while. So it really comes down to the amount of patience that he has on whether or not he sees that there's a value in fighting with the Aragon compatibility or not. So it could be very quick, or we could be stuck in a holding pattern for a while, guys, if he's determined that he wants to make sure that Aragon. So my question is, what does the adding Aragon really add to it? Is it necessary? Because most of the shit in the crypto space is so broken, you would not believe it. Nobody talks about how broken everything is. Nobody talks about Solana going down every other week, right? Nobody talks about that. They don't talk about that stuff. They don't talk about how you could literally crash ETH-FAIR and ETH-W if you spam up transactions, right? They don't talk about that, okay? Because they don't want to admit that it's broken. Nobody usually knows there's a problem until there is one, right? So, if your computer's running completely fine and it starts slowing down, you notice when it's really slow, right? You don't know what happened to cause that or trigger that, but you know now that there's a problem because your computer's slow. But that problem could have been developing for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of the blockchains. They've got flaws. we learned this when you couldn't even pull proper data from them when they were trying to do the sacrifice balances. Okay. It was almost ridiculous just getting it to run, functions to pull data. So, where am I going with this? I don't even know. I'm lost now. Train derailed. This week, man.
No, you're saying the difficulty of getting it was that the bug was in the Aragon client.
Yeah.
So you're saying that could be a lot more than a few days. So you were right.
Do we need it? But do we need it? That's the question. Do we need it? Is anybody going to notice if it's not there? In fact, Richard could probably say, oh, we got Aragon going and we'll just launch without it. And nobody would probably even know that it's not there until they try to build on it and realize Aragon's not there. So if you're not a builder, you wouldn't even know that it's there. Okay. So it's very possible. I mean, you got to weigh these things out. But the thing is, Richard wants to do things. They gave him a hard time, right? So he made HEX, but HEX is on Ethereum, right? So then they said, well, you didn't make your own chain. You just made an ERC20 token on Ethereum. You didn't really make a layer 1 network. So he's like, oh, okay. All right. I'll make a layer 1 network. All right. Now I'm going to add all these extra clients. Okay. I'm going to stack on top of that. So like Ivan said, two clients is great. 3 clients is really ambitious. 4, oh my God, that's a lot of work. Okay. So is he proving a point? Yes. Or does he really want to get something to market? I mean, that's the question, because and he's got a problem with that too, because it's a challenge. He doesn't want to back down from a challenge, right? He doesn't want to just go, okay, well, I'm going to scrap that part and just move forward. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to solve these problems. That inquisitive part of his mind says, okay, this has to work. I have to find a way to make this work. And that's where that can tie things up, is because you can be very determined to make things work, and you can spend a lot of time fighting with that to make it happen. If you don't fight with it, it'll never happen. If Richard doesn't find a way to set up the 4 clients, no one else is going to ever do it anyway. And if he does it, then people are just going to copy him anyway. So, they're just going to copy off his homework if he's able to do it anyway. So, like, I spent like 6 months trying to figure out how to make kidneys X-rayable, ultrasoundable, and endoscopable. I could make any one of the 3, but I couldn't make them all 3 work together. Okay. So what I had to do was I had to find a material that reacted to X-ray a certain way, it reacted to ultrasound a certain way, and then it had to have a hollow cavity in order to do the endoscope. So these were 3 different filters. If you want to think about it like that, it's like 3 different clients. So it has to function the same way as it would on all 3 different clients, if you want to think about it that way. So it took me 6 months to find the right materials, the right combinations, and to make that actually show up on all 3 filters the way that it needed to in order to make it work. And I had a box of scrap, and I went through lots of material and a lot of wasted time, 6 months of it. And it's probably one of the most difficult things I had to figure out how to do. And it was ego that drove me to do it, because I could have said, this is the best you're going to get. It works on these 2, but it doesn't work on this one. But I had that kind of similar situation where it's like, no, I know I'm not making any extra money on this. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to make the best product that I can. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this problem, because now it's frustrating me. Now it's pissing me off. I'm going to figure out a way to make this happen, because if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. So I did. So I do. I make the only kidney in the world that is X-rayable, ultrasoundable, and endoscopable. You can buy any one of the 3, but you can't buy one that does all 3 unless it's mine, because I'm the only one that has one.
Wait, so no one copied you yet?
No.
You're not giving away the secret, is what it sounds like. All right, I like that.
If I'm dead, they don't exist anymore.
Wow.
I've told no one.
Okay. That's a great analogy. Could it be fair to say that maybe which approach he takes, meaning just saying screw it, we'll do 3, or we're going to get the 4 done would maybe depend on like broader markets. Like if crypto starts mooning and like,
I think it comes
all
down
times.
to what Richard is willing to settle for. Period. I don't think markets.
So you're saying it's irrespective of catching the hype of a bull market. Because like, let's say Bitcoin goes to 100K and he's still working on the 4. You think that's possible? I could actually imagine that.
I think it's a balance between his patience and his ego. Because I know he wants Pulse more than anyone else. And I also know he wants to build the best product that anybody else has built. Because there was absolutely no reason for him to go to this extreme. Because he's not going to put something out that's halfway done. He could have. So this is what frustrates me. It's like people will say, well, Pulse will never come out, right? They'll say, oh, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It could happen tomorrow. He just doesn't want to put garbage out there so that it can break. It could happen tomorrow. It could have happened when V2B came out. He had a functioning blockchain. Did it have bugs? Yeah. Guess what else does? Everything else. He could have just flipped the switch and made it live and said, yep, there you go. You guys have been bitching about it. There it is. It's done. But he won't. Why? Because it's not important enough just to get something to market. What's important is he's able to point at this monument that he's building and saying, I have done what no one else has done. I have linked up all 4 of these clients to EVM compatible network. It has higher throughput. It has better gas fees. It has faster speeds. I did this. So don't you tell me that I can't build a layer 1, because I did. And not only did I build a layer 1, but I built the best damn layer 1 there is. That's what.
But
that's what he wants.
No, that is great stuff. But to be fair, that was like when the prices were like going down, but like everybody knew there was a lot more downside. So possibly like he's like, screw it, we're going 11K, and right now Bitcoin's at whatever was 30,000 FTX. Like, I have time. Time is on my side. That is sort of going away in the sense that we're getting closer to the bull market. So
I
like
think
maybe
there's
that
a
would
time
change.
restraint where there's a lot of pressure on him to go ahead and push it out.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing his ego, I would say that it's still the reason he has a hard time letting go. Okay. That's his personality. He has a real hard time letting go, and he has a real hard time compromising. So he might very well want to make sure that he gets that last client compatible. If it's easy enough to do, if and he's depending on others, right? So he's depending on others to do their job. And he is depending on their feedback as experts. If they say, all right, I can do this, and he's confident that they believe that they can do it, and it's not going to cost a whole bunch of extra time, he's going to insist. But he's also going to be really pissed if they say they can do a job that they can't, and then it costs him more time. So it comes down.
Is there a troll in there?
Yeah, I'm watching. It should be finishing syncing in the next few days. If it worked, we should get another update from the plan. Yeah, the devs introduced about, he's correct about that. So what happens when you're trying to splice things together is you can introduce bugs, because you're putting things together that are not normally compatible, and you're trying to make them compatible. And then they're meant to be standalone things, and you're trying to make them work together. So sometimes they try to stand alone, and that's the problem that's going on there. Now, mind you, look, I'm not a programmer, but I understand how systems and things work. You don't actually have to know how to write the code to understand how things work in reality. Okay. Same with like, my development of the kidney is a good analog expression of why I understand these things. Yes, they're two totally different things. People could say, well, you're not a programmer or whatever, but most of you get it.
Yeah.
The trolls, whatever.
I got scared for a second. You saw a troll when you stopped speaking. But we blocked them. But let me
when I go off on trolls. It's your entertainment for the day.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, it's your call. But so what I'm getting is that you think that if it's possible, he's gonna allow as much time required for him to get all four. So regardless of markets and things like that, like it's not.
I think he really wants the 4. I think he really wants the 4, but it's getting to a point where he's going to have to make a decision on whether 3 is enough.
Also, I mentioned time as in the bull market, but like, what if people are spending $2,000 to end stake and he still can't get all 4? Would that also make him have to go for 3?
Yeah. So here's the thing with Ethereum gas. It's not going to get better until Pulse is out. When Pulse is out, now you have a competitive network. Okay. You have to have another place for people to go to create competition in order for them to create the solutions so they don't lose the users that they got, right? If somebody sets up a hot dog stand down from your hot dog stand and they're selling hot dogs at half price, you're probably not going to get as much business. That's just common sense, right? So as long as you're the only hot dog stand, you can charge whatever you want, because if people are hungry and you're the only food around, then well, you can charge what you want. And that's what you got with Ethereum gas fees. Is it's a privilege to use their network. If you can't afford it, you don't belong here. And that's been their attitude this whole time.
Yes.
Right. And unless there is a competitive alternative, they are not going to change their gas fees. So in order to get the improvements on Ethereum that we would like to see, and the reduction in gas fees and the sharding features and the stuff that they are planning to add to address those things, Pulsechain needs to come out. It has to. And it will be not just a solution for an alternative, but it will also create a need for them to adjust their pricing and to think about their customers, right? Your network is no good if nobody uses it. And you got to think about this too, like with ATM fees, okay? If there's an ATM that charges a $40 fee and there's an ATM charging $1 fee, which ATM are you going to use? It's just common sense. Of course, Pulsechain is going to be adopted.
No, but the question is if, let's say, the Ethereum fees get so high, is Richard going to settle for I guess, less 3 clients instead of 4, meaning like he's just going to say like, we can't have it exactly the way I want. Let's just get it out. That's
what I said. It's a balance between patience and ego. And I don't know what he's going to do because I'm not him. So I know what his struggle is, but I don't know whether he's going to be more compelled to, because we could go really quick. If we just say screw Aragon, we can go really quick.
Okay.
And I think the screw Aragon is actually the way to go, because like Alex was building nodes and Aragon was causing problems with those nodes also, those pre-made nodes for validation. And, that's another problem that Alex is going to have to address if he decides to go with those 4. And it'll actually make it easier on Alex if he just says, heck with Aragon, and we don't really need it. So the question is, and I don't know the answer to this, how necessary is adding the Aragon? What improvements and features does it add that we don't already have? And can we go without it without causing any other issue other than the fact we can't say that we have a quad 4 processor or that we've done something nobody else has? Wouldn't it be better to just go ahead and have the functioning product?
Fair enough. Okay.
If we can do that, we can move very quickly.
So it seems like you're down to go for the 3. You're down to 7.
I'm down for the 3. Myself, I'm down for the 3. I think we waited enough. I think before gas fees get up and out of control again, it'd be great to have Pulsechain, and that would force Ethereum into a position where they do have to start addressing other people's concerns, or or it's just going to reduce the traffic on the network, and that's going to correct the gas fees in itself.
Fair enough. And Michael Light says Aragon is a requirement for certain exchanges. What do you think?
Okay.
So maybe not.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see where that could be an issue. But again, with all the on-ramps that we have, do we really care? Maybe they should update their worldview to adapt to us. And really, that's what I feel like. I really feel like, you know what? Centralized exchanges, if you want to be part of our community, you need to step up. It ain't us catering to you. You want a piece of what we got going on here, you need to update your worldview. You need to update your software. You need to update your exchanges. That ain't our problem, because we'll build around you. If you want to make it convenient for us, we might utilize you. But if you don't want to make it convenient for us, that's fine. We'll build around you. And that's what we've always done. We're building around. And I don't think we need to cater to anybody. We're building parallel, right? When we have PulseX up and running, guess what? Who cares? We've got our own fiat on and off ramps. Who cares? We don't even have to go back over to the Ethereum network, really, right? We can end our stakes and pass it right on over and just slowly migrate as our stakes end right off that chain and onto the new one. So really a revolution is happening here. Everything is changing here. The things that are going to be correlated together that are on PulseX are the things that are going to be paired in Pulse, not the things that are paired in Ethereum.
So, I really like what you're saying about how like HEX has been uncompromising, and you're seeing the dynamics sort of shift slowly, but you're finally starting to see it in the way that influencers are now talking about it, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't compromise for them. They compromised for us. Exchanges are starting to discuss it. Bybit wrote a whole article on whether HEX is a scam or not. And they're surprisingly more fair than I thought. I'm saying
Bybit, leverage trading platform.
Leverage trading,
what
yeah.
do we tell people in HEX? We tell you stay the hell away from leverage trading platforms. You think they're going to give us a good review?
Well, it was surprisingly
coins and never lose any. We got an alternative to make coins and never lose a single coin, and they have a bet on whether or not the price goes up or down, so you can be liquidated and fill our bank accounts.
I agree with what you're saying, but surprisingly, they were a little more neutral than I thought they would be, considering they're like a 100x leverage exchange and they're in bed with every influencer. So you are seeing the dynamic shift, as you were saying. But I needed to get this out of you because they were Randy and Axis were talking about this. I thought that the sharding would help with the Ethereum gas fees for unstaking and staking. It seems like it might even make it worse. I don't know much about sharding, but a lot of people are saying that it's not worthwhile to stake on Ethereum anymore because the gas fees are going to be so high. And
I disagree because I think they'll have to adjust. I think they'll have to adjust. They don't have to adjust right now. They're the only hot dog stand. They don't have to adjust. You pay their fees or you don't get to play. They don't have to. And once Pulsechain is up, people will have an alternative. And then they will have to do something.
But the sharding will not solve it.
I don't. What I think will solve it is the competition, because I don't think they're interested. Right now they have a monopoly, right? You want to work on our network. You want to use the centralized exchanges. You want to do peer-to-peer transfers. You want to do, online. If you want to use their network, you're going to pay their toll. They're the only road to go on right now, really. The only road that's solid that works, right? You've got other networks that are breaking down all the damn time, and they've got most of the utility, right? So they're not going to do that until there's an alternative that is equal or better. And then they have to address, because they're going to lose people to that. So if the network slows down the congestion, right? Fees go down. So if they reduce the prices in order to be competitive, then fees go down. So really, Pulse needs to happen in order for the Ethereum fees to go down. That's just it. Or something else has to come up that is an equal or better compatible network, which I don't know of any that are doing what we're doing. So,
all right, fair enough. Because the people thought Ethereum HEX would die, and then obviously with the whole deep liquidity pool thing that you had brought to light, it seems like regardless of how Ethereum's gas fees are, ETH HEX could be at parity. But now the question is, should you stake there? And it seems like you're saying it's likely that the fees are going to go down, and I would tend to agree with you.
In years. I mean,
Yeah.
So if you're going to stake for a month, why are you here? I mean, seriously, this is the thing. If you're going to stake, unless you're going to stake for like 2 years, there's no reason for you to stake. Okay. You know what's going to happen? If you can't stake for 2 years, you're going to emergency on stake. You're going to undo all your progress. You're not going to earn anything. You're just going to redistribute it to stakers, and then you're going to feel sorry for yourself because you wrecked yourself. So if you can't stake for at least 2 years on Ethereum, no. If you don't have at least 10,000 HEX to stake for 2 years, you probably shouldn't even stake. Just hold on to it liquid. No one's making you stake, right? So you have to be honest with yourself about what your intent is. And the staking feature is completely optional, and it's totally by your choice. You could buy your HEX now, hold it liquid, and bridge it over and stake on the Pulse network. But the problem is, if you're holding it liquid and the price pumps really hard, you're probably just going to sell your HEX. And then you're never going to make it over there onto that chain anyway. Because you're going to be like, oh, tap out, we hit 10 cents, tap out, I can't help it, I made a double.
Yeah, it's true. And also the T-share rate is running up against you, and you haven't been earning. So a lot of people thought that HEX Pulsechain would be released a month ago. If you were a year ago, I'm sorry, if you were waiting liquid for a year, you missed out on all the HEX you could have earned staked, and your T-share rate is so much lower.
6,000 and T-share rate changed too.
It's 26%. Think
Yeah.
about like how much the USD value you're going to lose if like HEX keeps on going up. It's crazy.
Yeah, so like when HEX was a penny and it was only 20,000 HEX, then you have what, a $200 T-share, right?
Yeah.
And then so if it was a penny now, it would be a $260 T-share. So even if you bought, there's a difference between buying now at a price that it was then, because the T-share rate has changed so much. So one T-share is now worth more than 1 ETH. It's been as high as 2 ETH. And when we hit $1, 1 T-share will be worth more than 1 Bitcoin.
It's crazy.
So T-shares are rare, and you need to watch that, because even when you think you're getting a better deal on your HEX, between paying higher gas fees, right, and paying a higher T-share rate, you might not be getting as much better of a deal as you think you are by sitting around on your butt and waiting. Because there is a halving basically in T-share rate every 2 years. So for people that are rolling their stakes every 2 years, every 2.5 years, the T-share rate just basically doubles. So in another 2.5 years, instead of 20,000 or 26,000, you're going to have 50,000 HEX for a T-share. And if it's $1, that's a $50,000 T-share. If it's 2 years from now, or 2.5 years from now, and HEX is $1, that's a $50,000 T-share that you buy today at $1,700. But in 2.5 years, it's a $50,000 T-share.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So man.
Okay, so here's another question. So you said that Ethereum is the only show in town and they could do what they want.
Yep.
Do you think that the Ethereum merge, the change to proof of stake, was Pulsechain the catalyst for that? Because nobody thought it would happen that quickly, and all of a sudden it happened quickly.
Yep. And the reason why they're about to get their Shanghai really quick is because Pulsechain is motivating that.
Why? Talk about
Because
that.
we're making fun of their asses for not even being able to unstake their ETH when we've been able to unstake our HEX now for 3 years. But anybody who staked their ETH has been stuck with it for years. They don't know what yield they're earning. They don't know when they're able to get their coins back. They didn't realize it, but they were laughing at us about staking our HEX for years. But guess what? They were staking their ETH for years, but didn't know it.
And they weren't getting 38%.
Still aren't able to get it back. They're still not able to get it back. So they're talking about us losing our money. Well, at least our functionality works, right? Now, mind you, it's built on Ethereum, but HEX showed you how staking could work, right? So, yeah. And HEX was a proof of work, proof of stake hybrid, right? So, yes, it changed a lot of things. It is motivation. You think if Vitalik doesn't know what one of the top traded coins on Ethereum is? You think he doesn't know what the wallets are doing on with HEX on his network? You think he's not aware? Hell, he could be the damn Godwell for all anybody knows. Wouldn't that be fun? Or one of them, because there's actually like 5, but he could be one of them.
So that is true. And I guess how do you see the dynamic with Richard Hart and Vitalik playing out in the future? Are they going to be, is it going to be more amicable, adversarial? Because Vitalik is going to have to acknowledge him at some point. Like, no, he's not going to be able to ghost him.
Vitalik's in his own world, man. The guy wears unicorn clothes.
No, he's going to have to he's going to have to acknowledge him because, people are going to start leaving his chain. And people are going to start asking him about Pulsechain.
Yeah, and Vitalik said that 5 cents transaction for the internet of money was absolutely ridiculous, yet he's allowed gas fees get up $1,500. Let's think about this for a second. Vitalik said that 5 cents for a transaction for the internet of money is absolutely absurd and ridiculous, yet he allowed on his own network fees to get up to $1,500. So I don't know.
He's going to have to acknowledge him, though, because the bankless people are going to be asking him next time he's on. They're going to be crying and you're going to be with the mug. But they're going to ask him, like, what about Pulsechain? Like it's going to be talked about.
Do you think bankless is going to mention Pulsechain?
Yeah.
They're probably staying the hell away from that. They've been beaten down so damn bad. From sponsoring Luna, BlockFi, Celsius, Nexo. Man, geez, can you guys pick anything that actually wins? No, because why? Because you're picking everything but the only thing that's winning. Good God. Cry me a river.
What is the relationship, though? They're gonna acknowledge each other.
Please, sir, may I have some more? Please, sir, may I have some more?
No, but what is the relationship? Are they going to get along? Like, what's the future? Because they are gonna have to acknowledge this is too big. It's getting too big.
Richard doesn't have a problem with Vitalik. He's pissed at pissed about the gas fees, but I mean, Richard respects Vitalik.
Yes.
So I don't think they have a lot in common. I don't think they're going to go out to the club. I don't think you're going to see them doing fine dining together. They're not really compatible personalities, right? I mean, will Vitalik give credit where credit's due? Who knows? I mean, technically, Richard is building off of open source software that Vitalik has built. And without Ethereum, Pulsechain would not be happening because it's the starting point. Without the recent developments that they had, we probably would be still building on a form of BSC, right? Which, had issues. So nobody knew whether or not their merge was going to work effectively or not, right? So it changed everything.
Okay. I think Vitalik is probably going to start out like calling him a scammer. And then I think maybe he'll grow some respect. and maybe they'll have a forum in the future.
Well, Vitalik was called a scammer. Charles Hodgkins is still called a scammer by the by the Ethereum community. ADA has done fine. Ethereum's done fine. Yeah, mind you, Cardano still doesn't have their smart contracts going, at least that I'm aware of. I mean, could change, but yeah, I mean, what we're building is different.
Yeah.
What we are building is different. You won't actually have to go to the old crypto space to go to the new one, right? It's like kind of its own console, I guess, if you want to think about it that way. We'll have our own stuff going on over there, and there'll be a bridge between it, and you can go across networks if you want. But I really could see Pulsechain being like 40% of all the new activity coming into crypto. Kind of like Amazon is 40% of all internet commerce now. Do people love Jeff Bezos? No. They still shop Amazon? Yeah, they do. Do they really care whether they like Jeff Bezos? No, they don't care. They're still going to use Amazon. Why? It doesn't matter. It's a service. It's convenient. It's to your benefit. You're going to utilize it. Most people are not even going to know who Richard is that are going to be using Pulse. So that's why I feel like the whole monument thing is not really all that necessary, because programmers and people that develop software seldom get the credit that they deserve anyway, right? And you know, if you play lots of video games, do you even pay attention to who the main game designer was? No. Sure. You just care whether or not it's a good game, right? So I don't think there's a lot of added benefit to trying to build something monumental. Just build something that works. You build something that works, and you build something that's good, people will come. And maybe you will still not get the credit that you want for the innovations that you made. It may take years before that comes through. It could take it. You know, people celebrate Satoshi Nakamoto, and he could be an axe murderer, serial killer. People have no idea. He could be some kind of warped, deranged individual that wears doll dresses. You know, we don't know. Okay, so this concept that an anonymous founder is better than one that has his reputation and face on the line is absolutely insane. Because, you know, you can't go put yourself out there and fail and then everybody know who you are. And, you know, because you'll never outlive that. Look at Mason. He's dealing with that right now, right? He put himself on the line. He made some statements, and now he's got to live with that because he chose that, right? So you got to do, you know, if you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to make statements, you need to be able to stand behind it or admit your fault if you can't. So, and that's what Richard's done. And he really wants to build a monument. So he can point at it all the time and say, look, I built that, you know. Whether or not people care, who knows, but he is going to build something that he's proud of so that he can point at it and say, I built that, whether or not he cares. Like, you guys probably don't care. I got a giant dragon head in here. I like to point at that and say, I built that, right? So no other reason. I wasn't planning on selling it. I have rented it out before, but no reason to sell it or anything. It was just because I could. That was something that I built for me because I could.
Great points. Another question. So I just thought, right, so Ethereum's having the gas fee issues. Do you think maybe that they're going to see what Pulsechain did works? Like, let's just make another hard fork, you know, another network, and then everyone can get more copied over HEX kind of thing. Could you see that happening?
Networks can continue to fork. Networks can continue to fork forever, right? But if you look at Ethereum Classic and you look at Ethereum, you know, Ethereum Classic was actually the original, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Until they changed it. So how many hammers do you need? Right? That's what you got to really look here. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to drive a nail? How many hammers do you need? Do you really need all this other stuff? You know, that you know, you can add all the bells and whistles to your hammer to make it look prettier and sparkly, and you can add glitter to the handle. You know, you can make it out of titanium, but really, does it do the job? And if it does the job, how many hammers do you need? So what happens is most people will pick their favorite network. How many teams do you cheer for? You know, you've got one team in each sport. So, you got your favorite team. Most people do not have multiple sports teams in the same sport that they cheer for. They generally pick one. And humans, unfortunately, are very binary thinkers. It's why we like true and false questions and A and B answers, right? We don't like it when we have extra choices because it really usually comes down to two. They do that with our political system. Why? Because we've got two choices. Heads we lose, tails we lose. It's great. Right? But they love our binary thinking because we can't think of a third option, right? It usually comes down between the choice between A and B, and then we usually pick our favorite one. So I think Pulse could people are even thinking now, you listen to them talk. What do they say? Should I keep my HEX on ETH or should I just move it all over to Pulse? They're already making their decision to pick their favorite, right? That's just how people are programmed. So if Pulse is the better network, there of course will be the people that are elitists that are just going to stick with what they're familiar with and not change because people don't like change. And then there are going to be the new people that come in and they're going to have the choice between A and B. And I think the obvious choice between A and B, looking at it from a new perspective, is, well, obviously this is the ATM that only cost me $1 and this is the ATM that cost me 40. I'm going with the one that cost me $1. And I think it's a no-brainer. And that's why I say Pulse X, the exchange, could be, 40% of all new internet or all new crypto commerce.
It would make sense because HEX had most of the Uniswap volume. So.
Yeah. And it could very well become, where everybody does their trades. And people could be bridging in from Ethereum to do their trades over there and the low gas fees. And then if they want to go back to the network, they can bridge back those same coins.
Yeah, that's what they do with Matic and Arbitrum. So it's very, very.
And Matic was cool and Matic was fast, but Matic had a lot of bugs and had a lot of problems, had a lot of lag, had a lot of issues going on over there. So it was not a perfect solution. A lot of us were utilizing that during high gas fees in order to acquire HEX. So we're usually the first to utilize things, right? We use Tornado Cash, we use the DEXs, we're primary. That's why I say when I say the general crypto space is 3 years behind us, if something new comes out, if there's a new airdrop, if there's a new app, if there's some kind of functionality, whether it's Tornado Cash or whether it's the ZK rollups and the batch send functionality, we're already ahead of that. And we've got developers in our communities that are already building on top of HEX. That was started way back before where we were doing encapsulated in NFTs, right? Our encapsulated stakes are a proper use for NFTs, a functional use for NFTs. Everyone's like, well, where are these things going to have their utility? We've got them. The WhatsApp, it is a functional use for an NFT, right? It becomes part of a pool that benefits as a result of being part of that pool, and having that NFT makes you part of that club, right? So we have the HEX Toys has their NFTs, which are the action figures that they're going to create. At one point in time, those are going to be able to be exchanged for the actual physical toys. So we have been 3 years ahead. They've got 3 years of catch up. They don't know all the innovations and stuff we've added. They don't know about, there's, the stuff that Maximus has done, the stuff that Icosa and Hedron have done, there was before that, there was Hex Bay. Hex Bay was the first encapsulated stakes. That didn't really catch on, which had me worried about Hedron for the same reason, because the encapsulated stakes things in general didn't catch on. Ben, you look like you're either yawning or saying something.
No, just stretching.
So, I mean, we've been 3 years ahead. We're utilizing all the new toys, all the new bells and whistles, and we're adding new features and exploring new ways of utilizing the Ethereum blockchain in ways that nobody else has thought of before. We are at the forefront. Everybody else is lagging behind with their little expert tag on their shoulder, and all they are is marketers. They're not innovators. They're marketers.
It's true. And I guess I said before, what would you want in terms of the like the liquidity routing? What if there's anything that you'd want to happen over the next year, or if there's anything you would want changed the way people are doing something now that you want to be done differently, what would it be?
I wish people would learn how to set a damn limit order, because you're looking like a pleb. That's what I wish. You know what happens if there was no such thing as market sell and there was only limit orders? The price only goes up. Not wrong way. Price only goes up. If nobody ever market sell and everybody set limit orders, the price only goes up. It's never going to happen, but that's what would happen. So what happens is when buyers come in, they buy at a set price, and it goes through that liquidity as people, and you would get paid. And you know what you don't do? You don't identify yourself as a dumper. You don't have silver up your ass with a microscope. Right? You don't have everybody bitching at you online going, "What an idiot!" Right? You know what you don't do? You don't sell on MetaMask. You don't sell through the MetaMask. That's a real pleb move. So what you do is you get the best value out of your coin at the price that it's going for, and you don't harm the balance of the rest of your bag. You're creating value instead of devaluing the rest of your holdings. And that's why it's important to understand how to either set limit orders or exit via a liquidity range. And you can exit via the liquidity range by doing what the whales are doing right now, which they're saying basically, the 12 to 20 cent range is where they're willing to sell you HEX for, is in the 12 cents to 20 cent range, right? And you can set a liquidity range or you can set a limit order. So if you set a limit order, that's the price you're willing to take. You declare, I am willing to take 10 cents per HEX. I'm not taking a dime less. I'm not devaluing my bags. This is what I'm willing to let this amount of HEX go for. And then for it to go up to 12 cents, it has to go through your limit order and your bag has to feel. Okay. So it can't go higher unless you get paid. What it does require you is to be a little patient and not just hit the pleb button. Pleb, I'm out. Pleb, I'm out. I wish people would stop thinking in lump sum mentalities and start thinking about, okay, now that I have this much money, how much do I need? And start looking at HEX as your savings account and taking out what you need instead of thinking that you have to play the trading game, that you have to dump and you have to buy lower and you have to dump and you have to buy lower. Okay. Because that is the game that ends up with a little bitty bag at the end and a lot of remorse. So I wish people would realize that. But yes, limit orders, understanding, setting liquidity ranges, not devaluing your own bag, selling against yourself, getting the worst possible price in that time frame. It's like someone walks in your house and says, "I'll give you $1 for your TV." You're like, "Screw you, get out." Right? That's not what they're doing with their HEX. They're like, "Oh, you want pennies for my HEX? Here, I'm taking a diamond. I'm selling my diamonds for a penny. How many diamonds do you want? Let me just give them to you."
Can I get them?
All day long. Are we doing this diamond thing again? Oh, look, I'm reaching that way, so now I got to reach this right here. Give me a couple little diamonds.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Take your diamonds home. You still want one of the giant diamonds that I was handing out for everybody at the convention, so I got your little prop.
We'll get it at the next convention. All right.
2025, because that's when my stakes start to end.
We'll delay gratification for the big diamonds.
2025. If you want to meet me at convention, you're going to need to survive to 2025.
There you go.
If you don't survive to 2025, you aren't meant to.
All right. I got stakes till 2037, so I'll be there. But that's the wish list. So we have limit orders and taking what you need. Ben, do you have any questions for Johnny? I mean, you've been sitting there.
I've just been soaking it in, man. I think you've asked some really good questions for
Thanks.
One thing that stuck in my head, I really liked how Johnny said that it's Richard Hart's patience versus his ego with the Pulse chain with the Aragon client. I thought that makes a lot of sense to me. So that kind of stood out to me a lot. It's his patience versus his ego.
Now he's got a conflict going on there, man. It's tough.
One thing I think about too, I think it was Richard or the developer Kyle said that it was one of them. They said like finding a bug. I think it was Kyle. It was like you find a bug and it's like finding a strand on a sweater.
Yeah.
And you start to pull on it, and then all of a sudden you have this mess of more and more. So anytime I see a bug, I'm always like, okay, this could be like a long time thing. But yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And a lot of the codes that are out there up and running are just like that, Ben. A lot of that's what's concerning, is a lot of the codes that are up and running are just like that. When Richard says spaghetti code, for Bitcoin, that's what he means. The reason they don't do much with it is because when they do upgrade it, it always triggers something. It's always pulling a thread. Because there are a lot of things. It's not clean. There's a lot of lines that are unnecessary, right? It's not a clean code. They didn't eliminate things. There's still a poker client in Bitcoin. Did you know that? So it's like an amalgamation. So if you think of a sculpture where you keep adding to it, right? And it might start out looking human, and you start adding more things to it, and it gets more evil, and you add more to it and it starts changing, and then you add a whole bunch more to it and it changes its shape completely, right? And now it's something totally different than what you started with. That's kind of Bitcoin. Is when it was built, instead of deleting, a lot of that stuff is still there, and they just kept adding to it. So it's an amalgamation of all these different pieces and threads that works, okay? And then when they add to it or change it, then you can pull some of those threads, and that's why he refers to it as spaghetti code.
Spaghetti
right.
code, yeah.
Yeah, I'd heard about the poker client. I didn't realize that was still just like there. That's kind of funny. So do you think like ETH? It seems like if they did rush to beat Pulse Chain, like could that set them up for like a big exploit? Like, do you think they kind of just were like, oh, we have this stuff it'd be ideal to fix, but we need to rush, front run Pulse Chain. So let's just, it's good enough and let's launch it. Do you think?
Well, let's be realistic. ETH is the best thing out there really right now, right? They do have the best devs. They are doing the best work so far of not having vaporware, right? So if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be them, isn't it?
But are they going to screw up because it's like, oh no, we got to fix this. Pulse Chain's taking our lunch.
Of course they could screw up, but it's not going to change the inevitable, right? It's not going to change the fact that whether or not it's going to happen and it's going to come out. They can't stop it from happening.
Yeah.
All they can do is make themselves more competitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. Maybe is there a little bit of ego there? As far as we're going to beat them to market. See, look, it doesn't matter. This whole beating things to market. It doesn't matter if you're first to market if things fall apart.
It's true.
It doesn't matter. So what if you get a brand new vehicle that's the first one ever released and you drive it out of your driveway and the wheels fall off, right? So this being first doesn't really mean much. This is sometimes learning from other mistakes is the smart way to do it. Yeah, C++ is Frankenstein programming language.
There you go.
So Michael Light here, obviously a developer. I started taking C++ back in college, and it gave me a headache, and that got filed in my useless information bin. I also took 2 years full of electronics. Now I'm lucky if I can tell you the difference between a capacitor and a resistor, because that also got filed in my useless information bin. I've got the paperwork to prove it. I was there, but didn't really utilize the information, so I just moved on. As far as only real programming I got was RPG Maker with the takeover functions and commands and stuff and building my own video games.
Well, there you go.
I wanted to look into the real engine. What's his name? Rock Edison. The Unreal Engine. Yeah. Rock Edison is a programmer, and he sent me a link to the Unreal Engine. He's like, dude, you can use this to build some Resident Evil style games. And I'm like, oh God, do I really want to spend this much time learning like something else to suck up my time with, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I guess that's all the questions I have. Do you have any closing thoughts, John? Ben, and then Johnny, I guess.
No closing thoughts really, besides thank you, Johnny, for coming in.
Thank you so much for coming in. I forgot.
Really awesome. And then thank you for everyone being here in the stream. Hit the like button. And yeah.
Yeah, guys, just remember, I'm a mad scientist. I don't always make sense. I could have totally crazy delusional ideas of what could happen, so you can't really depend on me. Well, I see things a little bit differently than other people, so you know, if I'm right, I'm right. Great, but you know what? This whole conversation was absolutely free, no sponsorship whatsoever. I'm sharing my full, honest opinion of what I think and believe. So, hope you all enjoyed.
Well, there you go. People are starting to realize that, you know, everything that you said makes sense. I think, which is awesome, and people are starting to have their minds blown, and I think that's only going to continue, especially because we're clipping up all the great sound bites we got from you.
See, this is why I don't go on your shows, man. I end up with 20 different damn videos. It's like, oh my God, now it's a feature of Johnny. I look back at my phone and I'm like, oh shit, now I'm up another 300.
We're making him more famous.
Let's crowdfund a Times Square billboard of Johnny Chaos. Clips of Johnny Chaos. Times Square billboard crowdfund.
He's not going to be able to go anywhere soon. He's getting too famous.
Well, that's just it, guys. You know, when I started doing this, the idea was to give others thoughts to discuss. Okay. So those who want the spotlight and want to have these discussions can have these discussions without me present. You know, because I like to provoke thought. But look, I don't want to be anybody's leader. I want people to take some of these ideas and concepts and learn to think and lead for themselves, right? And I don't want to become an influencer, because influencers really aren't leaders either. What they are is they are beholden to their followers. So they're not really they become the followers of their following, because they need to respond and say the things that are going to, you know, benefit them and gain that sort of attention, right? I just say whatever the hell I want, and I don't care who knows it. And I like that. That's the way I like to be. And I don't want to be beholden to any sponsors or any limitations. But I also don't want anybody else to be, you know, following just one person. You need all the information. You need to build the skills that you need to come up with your own conclusions, your own thoughts. And you know what? It's great. Because when you're right because you followed somebody, well, were you really right? Or did you just get lucky and follow the right person, right? If you come up with the conclusion yourself, well, you own that. You've made the decision. You came up with your own decision. You earned that.
He says, Johnny, no one chooses to lead. And that is true. You become like probably the biggest name in the community. Even though he wants to stay in the cave.
I want to stay in the cave where it's nice and quiet. I don't want to have to come out. I don't want to gotta do it.
But the ideas need to be said, and it's making a huge difference and for the better. So I mean, I guess.
But is it really? Because all we really have to do is wait, guys. I mean, really. If you know we're in the right position, you know, HEX is going to do this, but you know what? If you know that point A is here, and then point B, well, are we backwards? That's the way. You start here and you end here. Does it really matter what happens in between? Does it really?
Yeah.
Does it really? if you know where we're going, do you really need to focus on the intermediate? Not so much, right? If you understand HEX and you understand that it's a good product and it's done things that other things haven't. Hey, look at you, Furu. You getting money.
Davis,
Money.
wow. Thank
He
you
needs a
so
paycheck.
much.
Time
He's
to
so
buy some more
generous.
HEX.
I really appreciate that, Davis. Thank you. And I hope you don't tell me to shill with the next game. I'm kidding. I'm beholden to Davis now. He wants me to shill the you know what token, you know. No, I'm kidding. But thank you so much. He would never even ask me to do that. But
I didn't see a token listed there.
yeah.
That's not Brandon, is it? That's just Davis.
Very generous donation. Thank you so much, Davis.
So look at you, man. See, I held you here hostage for 3.5 hours now. You thought you were going to get out of this real easy, but no, you had to summon me. See, I can't even show up in a chat and just watch.
Nope.
I won't do Twitter Spaces either, man. As soon as I walk in there, like, hey, Johnny Chaos is in here. It's like
he's gotten too big.
Elvis or some shit. Elvis has left the building. Elvis has entered the building. It's like, this is some weird shit, guys.
No, dude, if you guys go on his TikTok, there's a video of him going to the conference, and he's not left alone, to say the least.
It took me like 2 hours to go pee. It was bad, man.
Oh,
like,
man.
no, really, I gotta go. Okay, just let me go. Walk 500 feet to the bathroom. You know, it's like,
let's see what happens in 2025 conference. You're gonna need security.
You know, I'm hoping by then everybody's pretty much forgotten me, and I'm just.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I like the Stan Lee appearances. You know, I like those things like where I cameo and I pop up. So like those who know, but you know, everyone isn't like, well, who's that guy? You know, it's like you either know or you don't. I like those kind of things. I think those are fun, but I don't like the things where I'm the center of attention, because I didn't build HEX. You know, that's not my baby. That's Richard's baby. He needs to come back out here and start talking about his baby, because I spend way too freaking much talking about it. And I'm speculating on what's in his brain, and we are not the same. We are different people.
Both very high IQ though, and I guess we could close it at that. But Ben, thank you for joining, and Johnny, thank you so much for coming on such short notice. I know it's you know, it's not easy to be popular, but hopefully you'll come back on. All right, guys, that's it. Please like, subscribe, follow at CCFX Studios Johnny Chaos on Twitter. Subscribe to Ben Dubard's channel. Follow him on Twitter. All his links, and we will see you guys tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you.